Okay. So if you're out on Canvas, project 1 is actually under unit 3, chapters 3 and 4, because that's where we'll finish it or complete it. But I'm going to open it up. So again, you won't be able to finish it until we've covered chapter 3, which will start next week, I think. Yeah, next Thursday. But I do want to show you what you can start. So as you can see, you have some time on this project since we'll be finishing it in chapter 3. Okay. So it tells us Kelly Pitney began her consulting business, Kelly Consulting, on April 1st. They give us the accounting cycle for Kelly Consulting for April, including financial statements, was illustrated during the chapter. Okay, and then it says during May, Kelly Consulting entered into the following transactions. So these are the May transactions that she's already entered in, May 3rd through the 17th. And then it gives you some down here. It says record the following transactions on page 6 of the journal. So you're going to actually journalize and post these transactions from May 20th through the 31st. What you'll want to do though is actually read the required information below that too and go in this order. Okay. I recommend, you can print off this instruction page, and you can do that in here once I'm done kind of going over everything. I recommend doing that because it'll just be easier than, kind of flipping back and forth between the pages. So print off the instruction pages. You can print off the chart of accounts as well. That would be very helpful in this project. Okay, so it tells us the chart of accounts is shown in a separate panel, and the post-closing trial balance as of April 30th is shown below. Okay, so we're going to look at that. So the first thing you're going to do is download the spreadsheet that's in the ledger panel and save that to your computer. If you're working in here, you can save it to these computers, and then you'll just want to save it in a way that you can access it from home as well. It will save in here for the semester, but you will want to save it, if you have a flash drive, or you can use the Google Drive. We all have access to Google Drive with your Raider.Rose email. Or you can probably even upload it to Canvas, or you can email it to yourself, whatever way you're comfortable with saving it. You'll just want to keep tabs on it because you're actually going to keep the ledger in a separate Excel file. And you don't have to know Excel really well to do it. You're just going to be typing data in there. The ledger is already set up. So just to show you. Okay. And make sure when you open up the Excel ledger, you will have to hit the Enable Editing button up in the yellow toolbar there. Don't worry, it will open to this end of period worksheet. Don't worry about that. Just go to the ledger tab. And if I scroll to the very top, they've already started the ledger for you. So you have, cash, the account number, and then, the ledger area for you to work. Okay, so the biggest and most important thing to do before you get started journalizing, like it says in the instructions, we want to set up the ledger accounts. So this company actually started in April. So there's beginning balances that you need to put in the ledger before you can journalize. So I wanted to be very clear on that because otherwise your balances at the end will all be wrong. Okay, so the first thing you'll do, if you scroll down in the instructions, there's a post-closing trial balance as of April 30th. All of these balances listed in this post-closing trial balance will be your beginning ledger balances. So again, if you print off those instructions here in a minute, you're going to have this list to set up your ledger. So what you're going to do is go into Excel, and I'd put the date. We're going to start May 1st, and I'd say balance. And you can put an X for the post reference. And then the balance for cash is $22,100. 100. Okay. So I'm going to use that post-closing trial balance to enter in beginning balances in my ledger. So again, cash, I put the date, I'm going to put the word balance. You can just put an X for post-reference. And then you'll start with whatever balance that they gave you. You won't put anything here in the debit and credit because it's not a transaction. It's just a beginning balance. Okay, so without that beginning balance, when you go and journalize all of May's transactions, your ending balance of cash is going to be off. So you'll do that for every account listed. So the next one, accounts receivable. I would scroll down and do the same thing. May 1st balance. And then accounts receivable has a balance of $3,400. Okay. So that's the first step. Make sure you do that first and then save that ledger. You can save the ledger like with your name in it if you want to, just to keep track of it. You know, you can rename it. I don't care what you name the ledger. So you'll do that. Any questions on that so far? Okay. So then after we do that, that's number one, that's step one. And then it tells you on step 1, part B, journalize each of the May transactions in the journal starting on page 5. Okay. So you're actually going to go and journalize all of these transactions. So you're going to start here on May 3rd, and that's going to be all of these here, May 3rd through May 17th, should be on page 5 of your journal. So I'm going to go to my journal tab. And you'll just start journalizing those transactions. Okay, you don't have to skip lines between journal entries. You normally would in an official journal, but to save time and space, don't skip a line. You'll just journalize, you know, transaction after transaction. So again, all the ones that are listed here, the May 3rd through the 17th, will go on page 5 of your journal. Okay, so it tells us received cash from clients as an advance payment for services to be provided and recorded it as unearned fees. So again, I would start with the date. And I think, does it tell us what year? 2018. And then you just tell me, okay, well, we received cash. Cash was received in the amount of $4,500. Okay. And on the second line, we had unearned fees, I believe is what it was. Unearned fees. Again, you can always refer back to your chart of accounts. Okay. And it'll do the indenting for you after you type it in. So you put in the date, May 3rd, 2018, cash, $4,500 debit, unearned fees, $4,500 credit. Okay. So you'll journalize all of page 5. Okay. So again, at this point, you're ready. You can do all the journal entries, and you can post them all to the ledger. So in this case, you know, I'm posting here to this ledger. After I've set up my balances, I could then go into cash and say May 3rd. My post reference is my journal page, which is 5. And we debited cash the $4,500. $4,500 debit. So we have a debit balance plus a debit entry. I would just add together. So what, 26,600 is my new balance. So at this point, you can go through and journalize all of page 5 and all of page 6, so all of the May transactions, post them all to the ledger. Once I post it to the ledger, I can put my post reference in here in my journal, the account number 11. And you're ready to go. So then you would just start the next entry right here and do your debits and credits. You can post to your ledger after you've done, you know, all the page 5, or you can do it after every transaction. It doesn't matter to me. Just make sure when you post it to the ledger is when you put in your post reference, so you remember. Okay. It will let you check your work, I think, after page 5. You know, like you have to do all the journal entries, and then you can do a check my work. Okay. So again, it's great practice. Today you can work on this and start journalizing and posting. You can do everything up through the unadjusted trial balance because we covered that in chapter 2 as well. So you guys can rock and roll on this, do your journalizing, posting, your unadjusted trial balance. Great practice for the test because all of those things you'll do, you know, in smaller doses on the test. But you can use check my work. You can, you know, resubmit this. It's not, you know, it's a learning experience. So I want you all to make 100s on it. But make sure you do save your ledger because you will turn that into me as well, just so I see. It helps me see if you make a mistake, what happened. And you really do need that ledger in order to complete the trial balance and then move on. Okay. And we will use that ledger throughout project 1 and 2. Okay. Any questions? Okay, awesome. Well, like I said, I will let you guys work today on this or chapter 2 homework, whatever you need to work on. If you have questions, I'm here to help.